Good afternoon, Chris Whelan here, slightly more casual day today. I want to talk to you about something in the Owner's Evolution series. Now, your to-do list never gets shorter. You cross 3 things off and somehow 5 more appear. You finish the week tired, but not convinced that you worked on the right things. That doesn't mean you're disorganized. It may mean that you're doing work that really probably shouldn't be yours. Because every growing business reaches a point where the owner's job has to change. The problem is most owners keep adding leadership work on top of the old job. They don't remove anything. So the business grows, the team grows, the customer base grows, and the owner becomes the busiest person in the building. And here's the uncomfortable question actually. What is still on your desk simply because nobody has stopped to ask whether it should be there? Most productivity advice starts in the wrong place. Prioritize better, delegate more, time block your calendar, protect your focus time, all useful ideas, and I tell people that as well. But none of them solve the real problem if the owner hasn't been honest about the type of work that they're carrying. The problem isn't always the volume of work, it's the type of work. An owner can be busy all day and still be avoiding the work only they can do. They answer routine questions. They review work that's already good enough. They approve small purchases. They handle onboarding. They fixed customer issues that should be resolved by the team. They remain, I suppose, the final checkpoint for absolutely everything. And then, they call it leadership because it happens in a business. The most important list an owner can write is not a to-do list. It's a stop-doing list. Not what can I delegate. A better question is, what should never have been mine in the first place? Now, that distinction matters. Delegation often sounds like giving away tasks that you still believe actually belong to you. A stop-doing list forces you to examine the role itself. What is the actual job of the owner in this business right now? Not what you're good at, not what you've always done, not what the team has become used to asking you to do. What is genuinely yours as the owner, as the chief executive? For most owners of a growing SME, the answer is closer to direction, to decisions, to capability, commercial relationships, and the design of the business. It's not personally processing every exception. It's not being the escalation point of for every customer. And it's certainly not carrying yesterday's responsibilities simply because you carried them before. I worked with an owner in professional services who was still probably personally handling new client onboarding for every account. Each onboarding took about 4 hours. The work was competent, but it wasn't specialized owner work. A senior team member certainly could have handled it. The team already had most of the knowledge needed. What they didn't have was a clear process, clear ownership, and the permission to own the result. The owner said, "I've always just done it." The sentence is often where the investigation starts. Because always is not a business case, it's history. For me, it's about role clarity, and it sits at the heart of a self-managing business. The owner evolution requires a clear answer to one simple question. What is your actual job? Everything else is on borrowed time. A useful test is to take the last 2 weeks of your calendar and mark every item in 3 colors. Green for work only you can do. Amber for work someone else could own with a clear standard and a bit of support. And then red for work that frankly should not be on your desk at all. The red list is usually the most revealing. It shows where the business is using the owner as a process, as a permission system, or as a safety net. None of that is personal failure, but it is a structural problem, and structural problems need structural solutions. Well, the goal is not to become unavailable. The goal is to become useful in the right places. A strong owner is not involved in everything. A strong owner usually makes sure the right people can handle the right things without needing permission every time. That requires standards, it requires decision rights, and it requires a leadership rhythm that replaces constant interruption. Next week, we'll look at why handing work over is harder than it sounds and why the problem is not necessarily your team. So look, here's your starting point. Write down 3 things on your desk right now that should not be there. Don't make it theoretical. Choose 3 real tasks, approvals, or decisions from this week. Then ask what would need to be true for each one not to come back to you next week. The list never gets shorter until the owner gets clearer about what to stop doing. What are you still doing because it's yours? And what are you doing because nobody has designed it in a better way in their company files? Get that and take it out. Let's have a chat and let's keep keep chatting about this. If you're interested, drop a link, drop a comment in the comments below. All the best. Cheers.